Are you ready to stand out in your noisy market and create raving fans? What's up, blue collar business owner? Welcome back to the Blue Collar Prosperity Podcast. I'm your host, Paul Masker, where we focus on helping guide you to have a prosperous business. Today, we have with us Clifton Muckenfuss. Clifton is a serial entrepreneur with an extensive background in sales, marketing, and leadership. His career spans over 20 years, and he has founded and co-founded, scaled multiple construction and service-based companies. Clifton evangelizes and teaches the concept of raving fans. People so happy about you, your culture, and your brand that they become obsessive, ultimately creating customers for life. So that is Clifton Muckenfuss. Welcome, Clifton. Thank you so much for being here. What is going on today?
Oh, what an incredible introduction. I appreciate that. I'm super excited. We were talking off air. Super excited about this conversation because, man, I think that those that are listening or watching, if they just take away one or two things that we talk about and go take action on them, and in 90 days, their business and possibly their life might look markedly different. So, thank you for the introduction. Let's dive in.
Awesome. Let's do it. And yeah, we were talking before the show. I'm super excited about this. Clifton actually used to live really close to me. Didn't know him, never met him, never heard of him. And then we just found out one of his coaching clients is a good friend of mine. Didn't even know that either. So the world is small, especially in the trades. So Clifton, you've been at this a long time, 20 plus years, figuring things out, making a bunch of mistakes, paying the dumb tax, as you call it. How did your journey start to then get you where you are today?
Great question, Paul. And it's funny you said the dumb tax. Yeah, I've paid that dumb tax quite a few times, but not the same tax more than once, I don't think. But so I grew up in a very small town. My grandfather was an entrepreneur and also a farmer, and so kind of had a pretty simple upbringing. And went to Clemson University in South Carolina. There, go Tigers! And always knew that I wanted something different than, hey, you're going to go to college and you're going to graduate and you're going to get this job, right? I knew I wanted something different. I always aspired to do things different. But anyway, so graduated, had some internships, and had some business ventures that let's just say they weren't necessarily filed with the IRS, and they all weren't necessarily legal. But I'll spare your audience the details on all of that. But here's the truth. In 2008, I had moved to Raleigh, and what was going on in 2008 in the housing market was an absolute dumpster fire. Well, I moved to Raleigh in the mortgage business. I took a mortgage banking position, and because I had been doing that previously in Florida. Now, moved from Florida, moved to Raleigh with a girl that I'd been dating for a while, so wasn't married. And soon after, Paul, the mortgage company filed bankruptcy. And right around that same time, my grandmother, whom I grew up with, passed away from cancer. And so here I was, new area, didn't really know anybody, relatively new relationship. And the girl at the time looks at me and goes, "What now?" And I'm like, "I don't know, but I'm going to figure it out." And so one of the first businesses, legal businesses that I actually started was I took $100. I went to Big Lots and I started a house cleaning company because I realized that, you know what? People hate to clean houses. They hate to cook and clean. And so I started this cleaning business on $100. Grew that business to about a $350,000 a year house cleaning and janitorial company. But let's face it, I wasn't really in love with cleaning toilets, right? But we continued to grow that business. But in 2010 is when a childhood best friend of mine approached me and said, "Let's start this siding, roofing, window and door company." And I said, "Cool, sounds great. Definitely better than scrubbing toilets." And so that investment was three of us sitting at a table at a brewery. You may know Leesville Tap Room up in North Raleigh.
Yeah.
Sat at Leesville Tap, and I had this business plan. For those of you listening, you don't see this, but those of you watching, a business plan on the size of a Post-it note. And I said, "Look, I believe if you give me 1,500, I put in 1,500, and you put in 1,500, we can start this construction company on 4,500 bucks." Right? My one buddy looks at me and goes, "You are crazy as hell." Like, cool, get another round. I looked at my childhood best friend. I said, "Cool." And he's 1750 from you. So $3,500 we started Carolina Exteriors. And that was our siding, roofing, window, and door company that we started. And so I came home and I told my girlfriend at the time, still, I said, "Look, this business I'm going to start." And she's like, "You've never mentioned any of this to me." I'm like, "Cool, well, let's pray about it. Just trust me." And she looked at me, Paul, and I think that if your audience hears one thing, it's when you have somebody look at you and they say, "I don't know how you're going to do it," when they believe in you. There's something powerful about those words. And so in that moment, I'm like, well, there's no way I can let this person down. Oh, and by the way, like we were planning to get married and have children and all this stuff. And so that was really my entrance into sort of the trades, unlike you see in a lot of areas, Paul, where a guy's on the tool belt, he's installing shingles or he's doing electrical work or he's installing windows. I didn't do that. I didn't know how to do that. In fact, I joke now like I can't read a tape measure without the little, I guess eighth quarter. Well, I still can't do it, right? But what I am good at, really good at, Paul, is helping people understand what brought us in the moment, helping them feel comfortable enough to tell me their problems, and letting me put together a solution to solve that problem. It just happened to be siding, roofing, windows, and doors. Then, oh, by the way, how can we take Mrs. Smith and turn Mrs. Smith, one customer, into many? And that's what we went hyper focused on. And
Love it.
so that's sort of the initial like backstory on my construction company. It wasn't without paying the dumb tax. We've made a lot of mistakes, right? But we also quickly became very well known in an area that was flooded with contractors. And the reason why is because I would meet with homeowners and ask them questions like, "Hey, when you think about a contractor, what comes to mind?" They would tell me things and I would listen to those. And I said, "All right, I'm going to build a company that is completely opposite of what you expect when you hear the word contractor." And so that's really what we did over the course of the first 3 years. We did a few $1 million in revenue, and I kept building that business and adding teams and growing teams and building teams, and um, we had massive growth, and we didn't spend much money at all on advertising. So that's really kind of where the backstory and all this comes from.
Amazing. It's so funny when you tell your story. Very similar to mine. I started in the finance world. I was living in Chicago. I watched everyone, not everyone, but basically everyone lose their job in 2008 and realized this is silly working for a big bank, big financial corporation. So I quit my job, moved to Raleigh, started my first business. And here we are today having a conversation 15 years after I moved to this area. You don't live here anymore, but some of the things that probably the biggest thing that I took away that's going to kind of segue into our conversation is how do we get Mrs. Smith to tell all of her friends how awesome we are? And it's not how well we nailed the shingles, and it's not how well we framed the door. It's how we made them feel. It's the experience we delivered, the value she felt. By the time we do all that, they know we're going to nail the nail right. They know we're going to frame the door properly because we've done everything else exceptionally. So let's get into creating raving fans. What does that entail in your mind? What's a raving fan, and how do we start the process to build raving fans?
So we need to define what a raving fan is, and you, part of your intro, alluded to that. A raving fan, if your listeners or those watching, if you think about sport, and you're from Chicago, are you a Bears fan?
I'm from Michigan originally, so I'm a Detroit fan, Lions fan.
Okay, so you're a Lions fan. Well, now you're riding high right now because the Lions are doing really well. So when the Lions come running out of the tunnel, there's 60,000-70,000 people stand up and just start cheering, right? Just going nuts. Those are for sports teams. But guess what? We can do the exact same thing, Paul, for business, for small businesses, right? So a raving fan is a person that is so obsessed about your company, your people, your process, your culture, your experience, that they don't have to be prompted to tell others. They proactively go out and become a brand evangelist for you. If you know what to evangelize means, that means to publicly profess without prompting, right? And so that's what a raving fan is. Now, the second question is, why do we create them? Especially in a market where we weren't the only siding company, window company, roofing company. The same thing goes for your audience. You're not unless you have a monopoly, which is not happening, you have competition. And so if you want to create these raving fans, you've got to do things different. Because if you're installing about the same products with about the same warranty, with about the same labor, well, we force them to buy on price if we don't do something different. And that is to create the remarkable, what we call the exceptional client experience. So, what is that? What is an exceptional client experience? And how you define that is every single touch point, right? From inbound all the way through execution and delivery. So that's what a raving fan is.
Love it. And I really love the emphasis of if we don't do all those other things, take advantage of every touch point and blow them away with every opportunity, whether it's how we answer the phone or did we call on our way? When we showed up, were we in a nice uniform? Did we park properly? Were we polite? Do we remember their name? Do we get their dog's name? Whatever it is, all those things add up to making sure we don't have to compete on price. I talk about this on the show all the time. If we compete on price and we win that race, we're the first person out of business, which is not a race we want to win. So we're building Raven fans. Everybody's on board listening to this call. The next thing we need to do is actually start to implement it. And I have been a believer of this a long time. So Clifton and I, we were talking about before the show, some of the great resources that I love. Fans First by Jesse Cole, founder of Savannah Bananas. How to Never Lose a Customer by Joey Coleman. Giftology by John Ruhlin. All things in all those books, they will give you some things of how do we take advantage of every touch point. And I love what you said originally about, all right, Mrs. Smith, what do you think of when you think of a contractor? And they're going to tell you all the things they hate. They never show up on time. They never complete the work on time. The invoice is different than the estimate. Once the work's done, they never check in on me. When I need a warranty call, they don't answer. All those things, right? Like historically, the trades, home service, we don't have a good rap. To me, it's a very low bar that we can fly over. So getting started, what are some things, super simple wins that our listeners can do to just get this ball moving so we can have some momentum?
Absolutely. And here's the thing. Everything we talk about and we've built a business on is actually very simple. What makes it difficult is because people don't execute. Like that's a lot of things, right? But let's just talk about something basic. Something basic. As basic as an old-fashioned idea of a handwritten thank you card. Something, I mean, it's very simple. The reason why people don't do it is they're like, oh, well, it takes time and, people don't really appreciate them and this and that and the other. And the reason why is because we become so desensitized to personal connection because we live in this fast-paced, AI-driven, technology-focused world that we've become programmed to like, okay, well, I'll just send a text message. And that's okay. A periodic check-in via text message like, hey, Mrs. Smith, it's Clifton. We worked together 6 months ago. I just had you on my heart. I just wanted to check in with you. I don't want anything from you, but how can I serve you? That's awesome. You can do that. That takes 32 seconds and $0, right? So you can do some of those things, but as simple as handwritten thank you cards, you can do that all day long. Check-in phone calls. One of the things we did, Paul, is we did a courtesy annual inspection. Right? So a lot of contractors are like, well, I need leads. Well, do you realize that every single job that you do is at minimum another lead in 12 months or 10 months if you do a courtesy annual inspection? 10 months after the install, hey, Mrs. Smith, it's time for your courtesy annual inspection. We're going to come out, take a look around. Well, now you're back on property, right? Inspecting other things, pointing out things, whatever the case may be. The reason why most people don't do that is like because they don't really feel confident in the work that they're providing, right? But just some basic things: handwritten thank you cards, periodic text messages, and my favorite is surprise and delight gifts, man. Like sending people things, and when I say things, I do not mean koozies with your logo on it. I don't mean pins and hats with your logo on it. I don't mean book bags, and I don't mean coolers, Yetis with your logo on it, because it's self-promotional, man. It's look at me. People receiving those know what you want, right? But we send out thoughtful things. You can do that. You can hand deliver those, you meaning your listeners. And so there's a couple of really, really, again, simple ways to stand out. People care and remember how you made them feel. And if you make them feel good, which is inherently what every human at a base level wants. Let me share something with you, Paul. You and I are different people. My wife and myself are different people, right? We all have different DNA, different fingerprints. But here's the thing that connects us and bonds us. We all have a human desire to feel appreciated. Your customers are no different because, first off, your customers are human. And so, as a business owner, I believe you have not only an obligation, but a responsibility to make that customer feel valued, feel appreciated. And when you do, and when they feel that way, they become the brand evangelist. They go out and promote you. And that's what you want. That's how you grow businesses and scale and make a shitload of money. I know it's not all about the money, but like profit is really cool.
It really is. And it's when you talk about it, it's so true, but yet a lot of people, we kind of put it by the wayside. Oh, when I get there, I'll start doing things like that. Or when I get there, we'll start doing this. Or I don't see we can't measure that, so it doesn't really matter. But when you go back to showing genuine gratitude to people who chose you out of all service providers. So where I live, I could probably get 50 different plumbing companies to my home before the end of the week. There's probably that many, whether it's a one-man band, big private equity firm, and anybody in between. I could probably call 50 different plumbers, and they would have ability within the next few days to come look at something. The fact that you're in that marketplace, no matter what service we are running, and they chose you, like, we should be grateful for that. And then when we show gratitude, it's human nature to then want to reciprocate. Wow, I feel appreciated. I feel grateful, all this. I'm going to go do that for Clifton because he did it for me and he's really appreciative. So anytime someone needs a plumber, I'm going to jump into the neighborhood Facebook group. Or when I get out that cutting board that he sent me that has my name on it, not his, I'm going to remember him. And I'm going to be like, when I have dinner parties, I'm like, where'd you get that? Oh, my plumber sent it to me. Like, your plumber sent you cutting boards? Who is it? Who is that person? I want to know them. So it pays off. It's not as measurable. Clifton, what do you tell those people that this isn't digital marketing? It's not, hey, I gave Google $100 and they gave me probably less than $100 back, but sometimes we convince ourselves they gave us enough. What do you tell those people when you can't directly measure? I spent $500 this month on sending out handwritten thank you notes, and none of those customers called me.
Well, we talked. I love there's such alignment here. You mentioned there like reciprocity and this is all true, right? When we do things for people, they inherently want to do things for us. But we were talking off air and the term ROI came up, which is what you just alluded to. Return on investment, uh, for those of you following along. And it's typically, that comes from very transactional direct response marketing, because I think that's what most business owners are conditioned to ask. What's the return on investment? Right? I put $100 in, I get 500 out, or I get 50 out, or whatever the case may be. What's my return on investment? And I quickly remind them, and this is not my term. This is actually a term I learned from giftology and John Rulin. God rest his soul. It's not ROI that's important. It's actually ROR, return on relationship, right? Everything we're doing and we've been talking about, Paul, is depositing things into the relationship equity bank, right? And we know that the more we deposit into that equity bank, it's going to pay us dividends long term. Think about home equity, right? You think about investing over time, and that's exactly what we're investing in is the relationships. But I'm going to give you a quick case study, if you will. And I shared this with you for those of you wanting to know, okay, what can I expect? I'm not a finance guy. I'm not an accountant, so I may say results may vary, right? So that's a disclaimer. But what I can share with you is a business owner that understood the importance of gratitude, that understood the importance of relationship marketing versus direct response, came to us a little over 2 years ago. He owns a deck company, and at the time was investing 12 to 15% in direct response marketing. He understands branding and the importance of that, so he went all in, and we started working together. And he went very hard in the paint with relationship marketing, which is what we do at Building Raving Fans, helping businesses stay top of mind, expressing gratitude, and all of that. And last year, he grew his business over 100%, and his lead cost, his marketing cost, has gone down to like 3%. Okay. So now, for those of you that aren't great at math, when you significantly increase your revenue by 100% and you decrease your marketing costs by 7% minimum, well, the gap there is what we call a shitload of money. Profit, right? A lot of profit, because this business owner is running 20% net profit. And so we're not talking about a couple of seven figures. We're talking about somebody that's almost hit 8 figures of business, who this year will do, I don't want to give away his numbers, but he's going to do well into 8 figures. And the overwhelming majority, if not overwhelming majority, a ton of his business is referrals and repeat customers. Now, he just sent me a text message leading up to this call. Hey, man, my marketing partner, he owns Google and Facebook. He knows those leads. Everything else is you. Everything else is Building Raving Fans. And so, to answer your question directly, Paul, about what can we measure? I just gave you a real life example. We're talking about millions of dollars added to the bottom line for this business owner, and his example is not uncommon.
And I think the best part about it is it feels good doing it, because then people reach out and they're like, Clifton, oh my gosh, I just got a set of bourbon glasses with my last name on them sent to me from your company. Like, I'm blown away. Right? Like, that feels a lot better than picking up the phone and talking to a brand new customer and having to build all that value over again. And they came from Google, and there's 100 other people in Google. And I think this really, in my opinion, this really stems from kind of during COVID. There were so many leads too. Like, I think it kind of accelerated this problem of we ignored all of our customers once we stopped dealing with them, whether they gave us money or not. If they called, wanted a quote, they said no, thank you, we moved on. If they called, got a quote, said yes, once they paid us, we moved on, because we were just getting more and more and more new customers. And we're ignoring, like you said earlier, why go get more customers when we already have them all? And we can turn them into our evangelists and turn them into the people doing the work for us, because we're the way we're making them feel. So a ton of great, really actionable advice, insight, all the things that we look for on the show. So I'm curious now, and I sent this in an email once we started chatting. I've always told all my clients this. I've done this in my business. And when they're like, that's too much work, what do I need to do? I need to hire somebody to do this. I'm like, I don't know if there's a company out there that can handle all this for you. Like, legit, everybody listen out there. I didn't think there was a company that could send all the gifts, the surprise and delights, the handwritten thank you notes, all that. So we always did it internally. I still do it internally for my clients. So every time someone signs up, they get a handwritten thank you note. They get a custom cutting board with their last name on it. If they have leadership team, they all get one. And then they get surprise and delights throughout the year. But tell our listeners, like, what you guys do at Building Raving Fans.
Yeah, I appreciate that. It's we really talk about, I don't know if your listeners know, but the Ronco oven, which was the guy who did that Ronco oven, he coined the phrase "set it and forget it."
Yeah.
Right? You could put a turkey or a piece of meat in this like tabletop or countertop oven and just turn the knob and set it and forget it. Well, that's what we do, man. Once we onboard a client, we understand like where in the journey we're going to insert these touch points. We make recommendations based on the journey, based on the client value, based on all of that stuff. Um, but just as an example, if a customer goes out, one of our clients goes out and sells a job based on a lead status or a trigger in their CRM, that's going to send the data, or our system is going to grab the data, client data, automatically send the handwritten thank you card to that customer. Get it in about 5 to 7 days. So we actually install or deposit some money into the relationship bank right there. Then once that customer goes through the normal production cycle and our customer chooses job complete, another trigger, another thank you card for job completion, then we automatically will add them into a quarterly gifting sequence. Now we send out things that you just said about people using. So we send out practical gifts. I mean, we've sent out do-it-yourself candle making kits. We've sent out gratitude sets where they can then pay those gifts forward. We do all the heavy lifting. Our tagline is, we do the work, you take the credit. We're truly a ghost in the background. Nothing we send out ever has any of our branding, nothing. And I'm going to say something, and people are going to tell me I'm crazy for saying this. And this is so inexpensive that people don't reach out to me because they're like, gosh, that's got to be expensive as shit. Truth is, I have made this so affordable because I believe more people deserve the results that we get for our clients. So I just invite anybody listening to this, explore a conversation. If a growth through gratitude strategy is something you're considering, book a call with me. I'm not going to hard sell you on a strategy call. I'm going to present what it looks like. If it makes sense, I'm going to ask you to buy it. If you don't buy it, cool, I don't care, but I'll follow up with you. But the point is, I've made this very affordable because I know that small business owners can benefit.
100%.
Truth is, we do it all. We do all the work for you. You don't. So the excuse of this takes time for me to go buy thank you cards, to mail them, to go get the gifts and package them and mail them. Yeah, that does take time. All it takes is a credit card on file for us.
Oh, I love it. There's a service for everything. And it is so valuable. To me, my favorite thing about doing this in the trades and really any industry is nobody else does it. Like zero does it. So you can stand out in your marketplace super easily. It's amazing. It works. Done in plenty of my businesses. And Clifton now will do it for you. So outside of booking a call and having y'all do it, we talked about some of like the easy wins, getting the handwritten thank you notes, doing some surprise and delight, checking in on people, all that kind of stuff. Based on your clients' feedback, and I'm just curious, just from a host standpoint and business owner, where do you feel they get the most, not financial response, because we know we just talked about all that, but like what makes the business owner and the leadership team with your clients better? Like when you're doing this, what's the biggest response from customers when they reach out? Is it what are some of the things you hear? Just curious.
Yeah. So our gifts go out strategically throughout the year, almost like on a seasonal kind of schedule. So our winter gift goes out in January, our spring gift goes out in April, our summer gift goes out in July, our fall gift goes out in October. And we literally have a gifting team studying human behavior and psychology and what gifts are triggering emotional responses and positive emotional connection. And so what happens is, like, for example, last year, our summer gift, we knew people were going to be going outside. So we sent out a wet, dry bag, right? People are camping, people are hiking, things like that. So these gifts arrive at a moment in time where people are like, holy shit, right? In April of last year, we sent out a bespoke essentials travel bag, like a canvas travel bag, because people are planning travel, they're planning vacations. And so some of the feedback we received is perfect timing. We're planning a vacation. This showed up at the perfect time. One particular piece of feedback really landed with me. Last fall, we sent out a candle making kit. And I got a message from a client. We sent out to his client. It was a candle making kit. And he actually had to give, not have, but he did give that kit to his daughter. They had a power outage, and that candle making kit provided them light for her family. It gives me chills describing that because that now goes back to our client who we sent that to his client that then passed it for, paid it forward, and the daughter use out of it. So those are some of the stories that we get. And also, by the way, we know when the gifts go out because my phone, my email blows up with the gifts just went out because our clients' phones are starting to blow up. And so, but those we've gotten some really incredible feedback on the things that we send because again, it's we send practical gifts that people can use. We don't send one-time use gifts where if they eat cookies and they throw away a box, then they have nothing left but a short-term memory and maybe a carb spike. Um, things sit around, so there's that constant reminder. Oh my.
Amazing. So as we wrap this up, Clifton, we've talked about a lot of things, but our listeners, they need to take action because I promise you, not everyone's doing everything we just talked about. So if you could give our listeners just one thing to do within the next 24 hours to start to move their business a little bit ahead of where they are today in this realm of return on relationships, client experience, raving fans, relationship marketing, all those things, what would be that one thing you would recommend them to do to just get started?
Over the next 24 hours, I would say make a list of your top 5 to 10, 20 customers or referral partners. Make a list. Top 10, top 15, top 20 clients or referral partners and send them a genuine thank you message, not a pitch. You're not asking for anything. Like give, then ask, right? Make it personal. Just a genuine thank you. Hey, Paul, it's been a minute. I had you on my mind. I just wanted to express my sincere appreciation for your trust in our business. Thank you so much. Very simple, very straightforward. You can go to the Dollar Tree, buy some cards, write those, send them out. In less than an hour, you've made a massive impact.
There you all have it. Go make it happen, guys. Everybody out there, if you're a plumber and you refer all the people that need an electrician or HVAC or landscaping, windows and doors, you have those people that you trust. Send them something. Send them thank you because they are in the same boat. They could give 50 different names when it comes to, hey, do you know a plumber that I can trust when I'm dealing with this issue? Those conversations come up every single day with your referral partners. And we didn't even talk about referral partners, but most of the time when your technician is in people's homes, they're like, hey, I know you guys don't do plumbing, but do you have a plumber you can trust? Because I just moved here and I don't really have one. Oh yeah, we use whatever. We use Joe's Plumbing down the street. Here's his information. Make it happen. Clifton Muckenfuss, thanks again for coming on the show, sharing your journey and providing a ridiculous amount of actionable advice, insight, wisdom for all those blue collar business owners out there as we continue our journey to prosperity. But before we sign off, Clifton, where can our listeners go to keep in touch with you, learn more about how you can help them?
Go to buildingravingfans.com. Book a strategy call with me. If you don't want to do that, find me online on Facebook at Clifton Muckenfuss, on Instagram, Your Small Biz Coach, also Building Raving Fans. I'm on social media all over the place, but buildingravingfans.com is a place to get a lot of information. We've got a lot of resources there. So I look forward to the opportunity to have a conversation with you.
Awesome. Clifton, really appreciate it. Appreciate all your time and wisdom today. Talk to you soon.
Appreciate you, brother.
And before we go, as you know, there are a lot of moving parts when it comes to creating consistent positive cash flow. However, the journey starts with making sure you are priced right so you can have a growing and more profitable business. I've created a super easy to use pricing calculator for everyone in the trades. You will no longer have to guess what you should charge. You'll no longer have to call around your competition and see what they charge. This calculator is easy to use and will provide you confidence and clarity that you're actually priced right. It also comes with a step-by-step PDF guide and a video walkthrough. So head on over to thebluecollaradvisors.com/price. thebluecollaradvisors.com/price to download it today, and so you can start implementing it tomorrow. Until next time, remember, what got you here won't get you there. If you are ready for different results, it's time to start doing things differently.